Hey folks, Pastor Bruce back with you again, and today I want to look at Psalm 34, at least the first 8 or so verses. And to start things off, I'm wondering, have you ever felt surrounded by trouble everywhere you look? Uh, all you see is trouble, distress, difficulty, pain. Maybe your marriage isn't the strongest that it could be, or maybe you've lost your job, or you're not getting paid as much, or you don't have the income that you need, and bills are coming due, and um, school's going to be starting soon, and schools aren't taking their kids back. And just problem after problem after problem seems to come up, and it doesn't matter which way you look, you're wondering, is there any way out? I am drowning. I am surrounded by troubles. Well, in this psalm, David does talk about his fears and his troubles. And this word for fears is not the same word that we see down here when it says to fear him, fearing God. This is a more intense, darker word, speaking to terrors or atrocities that you might be afraid of. So this is deep, dark fears that one might have, as if I see no way out. And this word troubles, this is a word, again, a very emotional word that talks about the distress and anguish that you might feel or experience when you seem surrounded, or you seem you have come up against an enemy. In fact, let me just jump out of here and look at this cross reference in Jeremiah 4:31, and listen to what's happening here. For I have heard a cry as of a woman in labor. So get these metaphors in your mind here. Now here's our word, our anguish. It's the same word as we have here in troubles. For I have heard a cry as of a woman in labor, anguish as of one giving birth to her first child, the cry of the daughter of Zion, gasping for breath, stretching out her hands. Woe is me! I am fainting before the murderers. And it's this idea of anguish, and you just get this terrible picture of desperation because of their situation. So as we jump back here to our passage, and we see that David is experiencing these fears and these troubles that seem overwhelming to him, he writes this psalm. So let's take a look at the beginning of the psalm here. It is definitely a psalm of praise, and we will discover why in just a moment. He starts off by saying, I will bless the Lord at all times. His praise shall continually be in my mouth. My soul makes its boast in the Lord. Let the humble hear and be glad. Oh, magnify the Lord with me, and let us exalt his name together. I sought the Lord, and he answered me and delivered me from all my fears. So now we're learning why he is praising. We get this reason why, right? Why? Because I sought, and he answered, delivered me from all my fears. Those who look to him are radiant. Their faces shall never be ashamed. This poor man cried, and the Lord heard him and saved him out of all his troubles. The angel of the Lord. This is the verse I want you to camp on right here. The angel of the Lord encamps around those who fear him and delivers them. Oh, taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the man who takes refuge in him. All right, that's the passage we're going to look at right now. So it starts off with these words of praise that he will bless the Lord at all times, and praise will continually be in his mouth. And he invites the humble to hear and be glad. He invites them to exalt his name together. Now let's think about this. Who are the humble? Well, humble people are people who don't see themselves as having the resources they need to overcome their difficulties. These are humble people, people who actually look to another for help. And so my soul makes its boast in the Lord. He's boasting in the Lord because praising and blessing, because the Lord is the one who hears. The Lord is the one who answers. The Lord is the one who delivers. David is unable in his own wisdom and strength to overcome his fears and his troubles. So he invites the humble to magnify the Lord with him. All right? And we get the reason why. Here's the reason why he's blessing and praising and inviting you to join along with him. I sought, and he answered, and he delivered me from all my fears, all the atrocities that I'm seeing coming my way, and the anguish that I'm feeling because of it. He has delivered me from them. And then he says, those who look to him, who are those? They are the humble. They are the humble. They are the ones who see the Lord as their deliverer. I sought the Lord. Those who look to him for help. They are radiant. Now, this word radiant is a great word. It's the idea of beaming with joy. The joy is all over their face. It's like the rays of the morning sunrise breaking through over the troubles, and you see those rays of sunshine, and hope is there. This is what this word radiant means. Those who look to him are radiant. Their faces shall never be ashamed. Never be ashamed. Now, why might they be ashamed? Well, if the Lord is unable, not powerful enough, not caring enough to deliver you from your fears and your troubles, if you're counting on him and he fails to do it, then wouldn't you be ashamed for looking to him? But those who look to him, who are humble and trust him to deliver them, their faces shall never be ashamed. So in the midst of the valley of the shadow of death, the Lord is with you. He is walking with you. And you will at some point be delivered from all your fears and saved out of all your troubles. It may be at this moment that it doesn't feel like it, but that's why we have this psalm to remind us that God is a God who hears our prayers. God is a God who delivers us from our fears and our troubles. And so even though we feel surrounded, God is walking with us. And he describes himself in verse 6 as this poor man. This poor man. In other words, he doesn't have the supplies, the resources, the equipment to solve his problems. And so he calls himself poor. This poor man cried, and the Lord heard him and saved him out of all his troubles. Now, we know from the life of David and from the book of Psalms that most of the Psalms are lament psalms, psalms of him in the midst of his fears and troubles, calling out to God and saying, "Where are you, God? Come save me, God. Come rescue me." So we don't, I don't want you to take this psalm and say, well, he hasn't solved my problem yet, so maybe my face will be ashamed. No, like David, in the midst of our trouble, a right response is to call out for help and to look to him. That's what we are to do. This is our duty in light of our troubles and our fears. Look to him. Seek him. Cry out to him. That's what we are to do in our troubles and our fears. And now this is looking back, let's say days, months, years later, David looking back at his situation saying, isn't God faithful? Now, at the moment, I was full of fear and surrounded by troubles. But isn't God faithful as I look back to see how he saved me and delivered me and rescued me? Now, how does he know this will happen? The angel of the Lord. The angel of the Lord. Now, oftentimes when we see this reference, it's talking about Christ, a manifestation of Christ. But either way, angel of the Lord, or Jesus Christ himself, or the Holy Spirit, what is he doing? Encamps around. Encamps. This is to settle down, take your place. After a long march, you gather together and you are encamping around. In other words, you once were surrounded by fears and troubles, and now you are surrounded by the angel of the Lord. Isn't that a beautiful picture? The angel of the Lord encamps around you. He surrounds you. And who does he surround? Those who fear God. And this fear, like I said, is not the same as the fear up here. This fearing the Lord is a very particular term. And we often define it as reverence. And the reason why I don't like that word is because when we think of reverence, we too often think of being polite. And this is not about being polite, doing your responsibility to another person. This word, when you fear God, you are moved to do something. Okay? The kind of fear up here is something you want to run away from. It is terror. It is fearful. It is not something you want to be around. But this kind of fear when we fear God in all his infinite perfections, and think about that term again, infinite perfections. When we see something that's perfect, let's say a beautifully cut diamond that has no flaws, that we are drawn to that diamond. We want to be near that diamond, right? When we have this kind of fear of God, we don't want to run from him. We want to run to him. It's an attractional kind of fear. It draws us to him. So it's those who fear God that the angel of the Lord is surrounding, encamps around you. And what else does he do? And right here, he delivers them. So those who are drawn to God because of his beauty and his holiness and righteousness, all his attributes, the perfections of all his attributes, and the perfections of all that he has done, when we have that attitude toward God, the angel of the Lord encamps and delivers. Well, I hope this has been encouraging to you today. When you feel that you're surrounded by troubles, look to God. Seek him. Seek his face. Not just to solve your problems, but because he's infinitely beautiful. And in that kind of seeking, the angel of the Lord will surround you and deliver you from all of them. Oh, taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the man who takes refuge in him. Well, I hope this has been encouraging for you today. We'll see you next time.